Hey guys, it's Jeremy here at Metal Music Meltdown, back with another video. What I have for today, guys, is the next installment of my top 10 picks of each year. If you're new to the channel, welcome. What I've been doing is starting back in 1970, where metal all began. I've been working my way through the years, giving my top picks, and we're up to 2001. So definitely check out my playlist for the other decades. There's quite a few videos now. 2001 was a pretty good year. The top two albums were no-brainers for me. Two of my favorite albums of all time. The rest of the albums on the list are pretty solid. I wouldn't say anything mind-blowing, but really solid albums nonetheless. Let's jump right in, guys, and get to number 10. So number 10, I have the debut album from the mighty Gojira. Love this band. Sorry, guys, trying to get over a cough. Definitely one of my favorite more modern bands. This is their debut album entitled Terra Incognita. Pretty solid release, more on the death metal side for them, not as progressive as of their newer stuff, and not quite as mainstream sounding. Definitely more of a harsher edge on this album, but really enjoy it still. And at number 9, I went with the one album I actually kind of like from this band, System of a Down, Toxicity. This has the tracks that I kind of like the most from their works, like Chop Suey. Aerials was pretty good too. Prison Song was pretty decent. This is one of the only albums from them I kind of really enjoy. The rest of the material, excuse me guys, I'm kind of hit and miss on. I'm not a big fan of the lead singer's vocals. They kind of irk me a little bit. But they do have a distinct sound, and I give them props for that. At number 8, I have Tool, Lateralis. I like Tool. They're definitely more of, you have to be in the mood for them kind of thing, but when you are in the mood, they hit just right. This is their third studio album, and with tracks such as Schism is a big one, The Grudge is good, Parabellum is good, the title track, a really solid album top to bottom. I just wish Tool kind of released albums more frequently. I think they only have like 5 albums in total, and they've been making music for like almost 30 years. I just wish they would release a little bit more material, but it is what it is. And number 7, I have Megadeth's 9th studio album entitled The World Needs a Hero. Definitely not one of their strongest albums, but pretty still decent. Motorcycle is pretty good. Dread and the Fugitive Mind is pretty decent. Promises was a good, decent song as well. Top to bottom, it's a decent album. I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10. Definitely not one of their best, but solid and pretty good. And at number 6, I have the mighty Slayer with God Hates Us All. It's their 9th studio album. Pretty solid album. Again, not one of their strongest, but pretty solid in their discography. Definitely not one of their worst, but not one of their best. It's kind of in the middle, but you can't really go wrong with Slayer. Super aggressive thrash. Always love their sound and really good stuff. At number 5, I have the mighty German thrashers, Kreator. Really love this band. This is their 10th studio album entitled Violent Revolution. Definitely an underrated album in my opinion. Pretty solid stuff. I like this album top to bottom. It's pretty good, and I still listen to it in rotation pretty frequently. At number 4, I have the other German thrasher, Sodom with M16. Again, another pretty underrated album in my opinion. Sodom, in my opinion, didn't have a weak album. They've been solid all the way through, and their latest album, Genesis 19, might be my favorite Sodom album of all time. It was that good. That and Agent Orange are right up there. Sodom's killer, though. They never put out a bad album. At number 3, I have Amon Amarth with The Crusher, their 3rd studio album. Always really liked Amon Amarth. The Viking theme, kind of melodic death metal sound. The guy's vocals match it perfectly. Great riffs, great aggression, and excuse me, guys, and intensity. I find their later albums, the last like 3 or 4, kind of blend together. They're kind of starting to sound the same. I wish they would kind of experiment a little bit more and change the sound a little bit, just to make them more distinguishable. But still a solid band. Really enjoyed all their material, even the newer stuff. Even though it sounds kind of samey, it's still really solid stuff. And my top 2, like I said, were no-brainers. At number 2, I have another German band, Rammstein, with the album Mutter. Easily my favorite Rammstein album of all time. Listen to it all the time still, with Führer Frey, Sonne, Equil. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, I apologize. But just top to bottom, it's got killer songs. I just love Schwitter's a good one too. I listen to this album all the time, at least once every couple weeks. Easily my favorite Rammstein album. I love their sound, the industrial sound. They sound like no other band. I don't mind if they sing in German. Actually, I think it's better that way. I think that if they tried to do it in English, it wouldn't be the same. And I love this album. Definitely a top like 50 album of all time for me. And number one, as soon as I thought of the year, easily my number one pick for this year. This is probably my second favorite metal album of all time. It's that good in my opinion, if not top 2, 3 or 4 for sure, but probably my second favorite album behind Rainbow Rising, and it's the mighty Opeth's Blackwater Park. My favorite band pretty much right now for metal, probably my favorite album by them as well. It's just top to bottom a fucking banger of an album. Leper Affinity to start it off, Bleak, Harvest, Drapery Falls. The title track is their best song in my opinion of all time. Love this band. They really take you on a journey every song. They go from that super aggressive, like death metal vocals, and he has one of the best I've ever seen, Michael Eichelfeld. And then they really slow it down and go into this really beautiful, melodic, kind of sweeping music with clean vocals. And I think the composition-wise, Opeth are genius. Michael writes some of the best music I've ever heard in my life, and it's been my favorite band now for a while. And I can't get enough of this album. I listen to it every week for sure. And I listen to, fun fact, Blackwater Park probably almost daily, I'd say, that one song. I listen to that song, like, if not every day, like 5 or 6 times a week for sure. So that's my list, guys, for 2001. Let me know down below what your picks would be. There might be a couple bands I missed, overlooked possibly. But definitely let me know down below. If you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe and stay tuned for more great content. Until next time, guys, keep it metal.